Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Late Night Magic.
Late
I am your
Night
host.
Magic.
I am your host, FitzMagic, joined as always by my compañero piano Rob. The piano's off a little bit. What happened?
What
Yeah,
does
we can't really hear it. It sounds like a Fisher Price thing.
Oh, I put on a silky sounding piano because it reminded me of the Winning Time theme. So I tried to put on like the silky.
You threw me off a little bit. And Winning Time, what a tremendous series. I remember we spoke about it, and I think I told you about it, and you were like, I think you binge watched at the point where you like blew right past me watching it.
It's rare that we agree so well on a show.
Yes.
And that one show grabbed both of us that we were immediately watching it every Sunday. Well, you got a little caught up at the end, but
yeah. Well, I didn't. There was a point where I was staying in Florida, I didn't have HBO. It was hard for me to catch up. Did I do that? That's not supposed to happen. But guys, the reason why we're talking about Winning Time is we have one of the actors from that, Newton Mayenge, who played Jim Jonas. So he's in the house. We're going to talk to him in just a moment. But what is it that you loved about the series, Rob? Because I know we talked about it a lot.
Well, first of all, John Riley's his whole role was fantastic. I am a big fan of his. So that was easy to bring me in. But the young talent, man, and the way that they really brought you in to this, and I know it's a dramatized version and it's fictionalized, but it was so entertaining. You needed to see what happened. Like this team they looked like they were on the brink of disaster a million times to get where they got. It's a real cool story.
Yes, and you're right. He did a great job playing Dr. Jerry Buss, man. Did he not? You almost forget sometimes you're not watching the real Dr. Buss. He really played it that well. I didn't realize how wild. I knew he was wild just as being a sports fan. I didn't realize how wild Dr. Jerry Buss was. And
again, who knows how much is exactly and how much, but it's still great story. And honestly, for me, without getting into, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But you really pay attention to his daughter because I think there's a really nice story there that really will transcend and carry.
Yeah, 3 seasons to come. Mm-hmm. I'm sad that we're not going to have some of the like the head coach. We obviously know won't be around for the full season next year. Jason Segel, because if we know the story of the Lakers.
Don't spoil it. People might not know. Don't do it. Don't do that.
Well, I know. All right. Well, you know what? Then let's get right into our interview, guys. We're gonna take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna have Newton Mayenge in the house. All right, guys. Commercial.
Cute. Well, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy. Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs. Ears for spooky stuff. You name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
All right, guys. Without further ado, from the hit HBO series Winning Time, Newton Mayenge.
Hey guys,
what's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you gentlemen doing?
Very good, man. Excited to be able to talk a little bit of acting and a little bit of sports. So I'm ready, man. I've been looking forward to being able to sit down and chat with you for a minute, man. You got a lot going on, and you know what, let's start the backstory a little bit. Parents immigrated from the Republic of Congo. Yes. So you're a first generation American.
I am.
What kind of pressure is that on you? Because you were born in Charlotte, North Carolina. What kind of pressure is that being a first generation American? Do you feel pressure with that? Where, how do you, and let me say this too, quite the American dream, right? Your parents move over here, you're born here, first generation, and to excel in not just acting, but you've obviously done well in the game of basketball as well. What's that like, that kind of pressure?
Well, growing up, it was a lot of pressure. I'm not gonna lie, because you're growing up in two different cultures simultaneously. At home, I'm in the African culture, fully engulfed in it. The language, the food, the traditions, and then literally as soon as I step outside, I'm in the American culture. So as a child, it's a very difficult dynamic to kind of navigate, because as children, naturally we're all trying to find ourselves, during those adolescent years, and so it was tough. But as I got older, I started to embrace it more, especially once I got to college, and I understood. I mean, it's a crazy story. When I was growing up, I wanted to feel like I was more Americanized outside of the home. So my last name is Mayenge, but I would tell people my last name is Mange.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, did people ever mispronounce your last name?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I was going to
don't
say,
take offense to it at all.
I would assume you must have headbutted with your parents a little growing up, because I'm sure they came from a very different culture, and here you are, like you said, balancing it. Was there a lot of little teenage issues and stuff at that point?
There was. I mean, one good thing about my situation though was I have older siblings, so my brothers and sisters they kind of went through the ringer in order for the situation to be a little bit easier for me, because my parents would have had 3 go rounds prior to me. So by that moment, by the time, I mean, there were some issues, but at the same time, I had a lot of liberties. Plus, I was a responsible kid. I didn't really, party much. I didn't do drugs. I didn't do any of that stuff. I went to school and I played basketball, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, man.
Now, you're the youngest of 4, I believe, right?
I am.
So were they also born in the U.S. or were they born overseas?
So they were born there, but they came here when they were like super young, 4 or 5 years old. So they don't remember any of it.
Okay, so they're pretty much, they only know the American culture other than what they've had from home. I get that too. My wife is first generation. She's Colombian. She's first generation American, and same thing. It's always very much like when you're in an American culture, you're never really. It's almost like that. Never really American enough for American, but then back home, you're never Colombian enough for Colombian. I'm sure we had that same kind of thing, because it's such a different culture. So you were a college athlete. You played at UNC, I believe, right?
No, so I played North Carolina Central, and I transferred and finished off at UNC. Interesting.
Okay, because I know you graduated from UNC.
Graduated from UNC. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play there, but it was a coaching change situation. So unfortunately, that didn't pan out for me. But I stayed there because that was my dream school, and I wanted to graduate from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you go overseas to play. What was that experience like?
Man, it was life-changing for me. It was a redemption almost from not having the college career that I wanted. I did do track at Central as well, North Carolina Central. But going into professional basketball was amazing, because essentially I had to prove myself all over again. And I took the bull by the horn. I think that's the terminology. But
yeah, it is.
It was exciting because when I first got out there, I was on a second division team. Well, I played on 2 different teams: Indesbach, which is in like central Germany, and then I eventually ended up in Stuttgart and in Ulm, which is about 2.5 hours south of Frankfurt.
Cool.
And it was a great experience. That's their version of the NBA out there. I mean, soccer is big out there, of course.
Yeah.
So our teams were sponsored by the soccer teams. But I loved it, man. I mean, that was the style of play back then. I mean, you see it more in the NBA now, but the style of play back then is exactly what you see now. The difference is a lot of threes. Yeah. You got the bigs playing outside, so it was 5 out. So which was I'm 43 now, so as you can imagine, I grew up in that Jordan era with Patrick Ewing. You had legitimate post players.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Olajuwon, Ewing. Ewing was my guy. I'm a Knicks fan. That was my guy. Yeah,
love Ewing.
So now, is there ever, you're overseas, right? You're a kid pretty much. What was it like at your parents? How did they react when you're like, I'm going to go overseas to play ball? Were they nervous for you? What was their response to something like that?
They were very nervous because of the fact that I was the kid who always thought outside the box. I did all the stuff in the classroom, which that's what they came to this country to give us those opportunities academically. Yes. But I also wanted to do other things. I wanted to play basketball and go overseas. I wanted to be an actor, so on and so forth later on. But they were nervous, but they supported me. My mother was very influential in that. And my dad also understood too, migrating from a different country to the U.S. and literally having to start over. So they understood it. They were super nervous, but they knew once again that I was going to take everything and be responsible with it.
See, I love the stories like that, because we have a lot of people on this show where that's our parents' generation thought a little differently. Like, it was more about security and you come here and do stuff. And I did something similar. I called up my mom one day. I'm like, I got a job playing piano in a bar in Florida. I'm not moving back home. And of course, their initial reaction is, they're worried because they love you. But I feel like when you have really solid parents, they understand they got to let you go create. And when you let us create, sometimes we make it to some pretty cool places.
Absolutely. And experiences are priceless, man. You can't beat it.
That's
awesome. I mean, getting to live in another country like Germany, man, like you may never have had that opportunity otherwise. How long were you playing ball out there for?
So I put out there 2 seasons. Unfortunately, going into my 3rd season, I got into a car accident, which ended my career. At that moment, I was in negotiations of going to Spain and play. Okay. And also during that time, I was in negotiations of playing summer league. So if I would have played out that Spanish year, I would have went into summer league. And at that time, we were talking with the Celtics was a possibility. But it didn't pan out. So I ended up getting into that accident and having to change career trajectories, so to speak.
You get into doing some modeling, you get into doing some acting. Was that something that you wanted to do too? Is that something that even interested you back then? Like, how did the modeling thing come about? Like, did somebody just approach you and say, hey, you could do runway? Like, how did that come about? Well, because it's such a transition, right? Basketball overseas, then to becoming a runway guy.
Very much so. I mean, because, I moved out to California for basketball. My agent was out here. I played in the summer pro league when it was still in Long Beach before it went to where it is now in Vegas. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what got me into California, the California market, so to speak. And I would come back here during the off season. So when I got hurt, I needed to find something else to do. And I just stayed out here. I did kind of look at some other options, but people would always ask me, are you an actor? Are you a model? I'm like, no. Oh, I've seen you on TV somewhere. What show was that? Never been on a TV show at that time, at least.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, I'm looking at some other things, some other options. Let me see what that is. Someone approached me about doing some modeling, and I eventually got a modeling manager. And then next thing you know, I'm in New York and LA Fashion Week and Milan Fashion Week and Miami Swim Week, and all that happened just quickly.
Now, would you have? I know it's a tough question. Would you have preferred to be playing basketball, or was it like that door closed and this was a really nice avenue now?
Oh, basketball is always number one for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No.
Even to this day, I mean, I did well in school to be on the basketball court. So basketball has always been my driving force in anything I do, because I use that competitive nature to overcome it. Say with acting, for example. Learning how to act, it was very challenging because I didn't know what I was doing. Like anything that you learn how to do, you don't know what you're doing. So you got to kind of go through your I call them the L's. You got to go through your losses and learn the craft. So that's basketball is always number one. But I'm very grateful for modeling and of course for acting as well.
Cool.
Now, what would you say that you learned in basketball, in the game of basketball, that may have helped prepare you for this second career that you now that you're in as we speak? Was there anything that you took from that helped you, whether it be preparing for a role or just some type of work ethic or some type of preparation that you carried over to now acting?
The discipline aspect of it all. Any craft that you go into, you have to have muscle memory. It's a repetitive muscle memory. Shooting basketball, you have to shoot. For me, I used to shoot 1,000 makes, right? It didn't matter how many misses I had. I had to have 1,000 makes, which allowed my shot to be more proficient. Mm-hmm. And so in the skill set of acting, you have to be able to continuously read the script, have an understanding of what the storyline is over and over and over and over again. And then you have your breakdown techniques of how to start to bring in the emotions based on if it's a sad emotion, happy emotion, whatever that situation is. You have to have kind of a step-by-step guideline, which is repetitive. That's muscle memory as well. So that's kind of taking one skill set or work ethic, so to speak, and then bringing it into another profession.
Yeah, man. Every guest we have on this show, you can kind of see the one or two things of what they use to make them successful. And for you, I feel like it's definitely very simply, it's that hard work. You're going to put whatever the effort is. And if one door does close, you're not going to say die. You're going to move on to wherever you have to move on and put that work in. And as long as you have that, you're always going to be okay. You're going to get somewhere.
Absolutely. And I attribute that to the example of my parents gave me. My dad, he was a doctor overseas, and then when he came here, in the early 70s, his education was an honor. So his first job here was a dishwasher, and he had to re-educate himself. He went to community college, and then eventually graduated from a 4-year school and became an MD again.
That's amazing. That's perseverance. That's like
yeah. That's a great role model as a child to have, is to see him go through what he had to go through. Well, actually, I guess you didn't see because you weren't there, but to know that he built up his to get his degree and everything overseas, and then come over here and still do it again, not get down and just be like, all right, well, I'll do it. I did it before, I'll do it again. That's a great message to learn as a child. So back into basketball real quick before we move on to into acting. Who's a player you would say most resembled your game, or who was a player that you most resembled your game after?
Well, Michael Jordan was my guy growing up.
Yep, from Charlotte, right? I guess it had to be.
Yeah, that's just so, in high school and in college time frame, I was more of a shooting guard. So I was a combination of a Michael Jordan from a scores mentality perspective, but then a Ray Allen too, because I was a catch and shoot guy, one dribble pull up guy.
Cool.
And then I transitioned because when I went overseas, I had to play a point guard. So I actually got bigger. I picked up weight. I got up to 225. So I was a heavy point guard, just to take the beatings out there. Because back then, basketball wasn't Americans didn't get calls like that. So if I went up and got clothesline, it's going the other way. But if I barely touch a guy, it's a foul on me. And
it's those LeBron James rules.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
For anyone that's watching today. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. And I'm looking at the ref like, I barely touched this guy, but I got clothesline. Oh, you're American, so that's just what it is. And they would tell me
it's a tax. It's a foul tax.
You know what? And probably you could sit there and complain about it, but nobody's gonna care. Or you got to just keep going. You got to fight through it. Those are the options. You quit or you keep going.
Yeah. So my game transitioned more of, if I have to say, a point guard. Because I had to score. I mean, I averaged about 7 and 10. My 17 points, 10 assists.
Okay.
My second season. It's hard to say. Maybe gosh, I never really thought about what point guard. Because I was a morph of everybody.
Yeah.
I did watch Jason Kidd a lot.
Okay.
Because I had to force myself to pass because I naturally wasn't a passer, even though I could pass.
Well, he could pass, boy. He couldn't hit a three. Couldn't hit a three really well.
Couldn't hit a three.
Hey, nobody's got it all. You got to work to your strengths. It's anything, right?
Michael Jordan. I was a Knick fan growing up. Well, I'm still a Knick fan. I don't like to admit that anymore, but I am a Knick fan. Michael Jordan ruined a lot of May and Junes for me.
Listen,
see him in the playoffs a lot.
He did that for basically every team for a decade.
But a lot of our seasons ended against him. And if it wasn't, if I didn't blame him, I could blame Charles Smith for missing like 10 shots he took under the basket that time. If anybody remembers, was that 93? I forget. Where he took like 10 shots under the basket and could not land one of them. It's like you're 6'11", just jump up and dunk the ball.
94 was. Well, I mean, we could talk about this all day. They should have won 94 against the Rockets, but that was just such a dumb. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, John Starks going one for like 85.
I was going to mention John Starks, but it makes me angry.
Those Knicks teams were fantastic, though.
They were tough, man.
I wish they would have gotten one because those. I mean, Ewing, X-Man. You had
Oakley. Starks, who was a fan favorite. Yeah, Doc Rivers.
Harper. I mean, not Ron Harper, but what's the guy's name? Harper.
Dennis Harper.
No.
You know who I'm talking
about,
Doc
Rivers, Rolando Blackman.
There was a Harper on that team. He was a point guard.
There was.
I thought it was Dennis. It's not Dennis Harper?
No, it's not Dennis Harper.
He had like a kind of a bigger nose.
I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, those teams were.
He played for Dallas as well, I believe. Didn't he play for Dallas earlier?
He did.
His career.
Yep.
But it's just, I know. There can only be one winner. You got a lot of good people that want it, and things are going to line up and not line up.
I've yet to see a championship. So
Mike took a lot of hearts, man. It's some guys who were legitimate champions, like Charles Barkley and those guys too. I mean, in any other circumstance.
Yeah, Charles Barkley's one of those guys who look
won.
back and I think Oscar Robertson might have been another one too that should have won a title, never won, I believe. Oh, the Big O. All right, so now you segue into acting. Where did you basketball player, model, and now you're getting into acting? How did that go about? Did someone reach out to you and say, "Hey, would you want to try this?" Or did you just reach out and find and learn how to audition? Like, how'd that come about?
Well, similar to the modeling, the acting kind of came with it too. Modeling was quicker. I was able to, figure out how to do the runway stuff and the techniques of that. My basketball training also made me apply that into learning how to do the runway. And so, same thing. I've seen you on TV. I'm like, well, thank you, but no, you haven't. And so it would be cool to be on TV. And so I went to an acting class because people constantly kept asking me that. And I was still in that search for that next big thing. Modeling was great, but it still wasn't the end all be all for me. I took a class through Tasha Smith. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She does a lot of directing now. Okay. But she's done a lot of Tyler Perry movies and stuff like that. So she's a big time director now. So I went to her class, and what they call it it's called an audit, where you just go in and you sit in and you observe the master class and see how it works and the flow of it. Well, I loved it. It gave me a similar passion to playing basketball. So I said, all right, well, this is what I want to do. So
that's great.
I signed up for that class, and that's kind of how the journey began. Starting to learn the skill sets.
That's cool.
Understanding how the techniques and how those things work, because it's a foreign world to me. Mm-hmm. A lot of people look at acting as it's easy. Trust me, it's not. It's just like anything you do. You make it look easy by being so proficient at it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. That's another reason we love this show, because we like to get into that, because people don't know what's behind the scenes, and they're very curious what's behind the scenes of what goes into it. And that's why it's really nice to hear all because everybody has a different processor, and there's so many just different types of shows, or whether it's television or a movie or a comedy, and there's different ways to handle all of that. And that's what we love to showcase that.
Absolutely.
Have you ever thought about getting into directing too down the line?
People have talked to me and said that I'd be good, a little bit of director, but more so a producer, because I have that business mind of it too.
Mm-hmm. And your organization and all of that, I could see that. That would definitely and you're not gonna. I feel like you would be everything would be very scheduled, very in order with you.
Absolutely, because that's how. If you don't have any form of structure, then you're just setting yourself up for a chaotic situation. So at least if it's chaotic with structure, you can always refer back to your schedule, to your bottom line.
Yes.
Yeah. So 3-part question. Okay. An actor, an actress, and a director that you would love to be able to work with in the future.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Actor, Denzel.
All right.
You're not the first to say him either.
He would be. I'll tell you what. He'd be my pick. Have you seen? I'll cut you off for a quick sidebar. Have you seen the Tragedy of Macbeth yet?
I have not, and I literally told my wife that we have to watch that. I just told her that last week. So that's on the bucket list.
Okay.
I've seen clips of it. He's phenomenal.
All right. So now, actress and director.
Actress, huh?
And you can't say your wife, because we know your wife's an actress.
I know, right? That's the bias in me. And we've actually worked together already. So
I know you got something coming up sooner too.
We do. Wow. Viola Davis.
Oh, nice. Very good pick. I like that. Very good.
Cool.
I think she's very pivotal in the industry.
Yeah.
Director. Huh. It's a good question. Director. There's a lot of great ones out there.
Yeah.
Tasha Smith. I started with her.
Cool.
So I like to see, and she's doing a lot of that now. I like to kind of be on that end of it.
Which director?
Starting and then continuing, so to speak.
Full circle, right? Bring it back.
Yeah.
I like that idea, actually. Yeah. Who's a director that you worked with that you learned the most from, and that maybe you thought, I guess maybe you learned the most from, and just be that you got you as an actor the best?
I say Sally Richardson. She was my director for episode 9 and 10 on Winning Time.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved all my directors, but she was able to help me tap into some things that I had never experienced before. She's an actor's director because she's an actor herself, an actress herself, and still acting. And so she was able to help me understand dynamics because TV is very fast paced.
Yeah.
So she helped me kind of adjust to what versus film. So she helped me adjust because I was more of a film actor before Winning Time. She helped me adjust very quickly.
Cool. So let's talk about your wife real quick, the gorgeous Whitney Bowers. How did you guys meet? Like, did you meet as at an audition for something? Like, so you're both in the acting world now. How did you guys meet, and how did that come about?
Well, I was acting, but I was more modeling at that time. And we had both, and I saw her at the audition, which is interesting enough. We had an audition that we both booked. She was a red carpet host interviewer, and I was a model at this fashion show, but it was also like a showcase of various musicians and things like that. And so she did all the interviews with all the celebrities that came to the event, and then I modeled. Well, after the fact, I had walked her to her car. I saw her walking, and it was LA, so thing about LA is some sketchy areas, and you got some prominent places in sketchy areas, right? Which is crazy. So, just being a good person, I wanted to walk her to her car. She asked me if I ever what was it, hiked, and I said yeah, of course.
Did you, or you just
got a beautiful woman asking you stuff like that? You got to say yeah. You just
yes is the answer.
Yeah. So we never went hiking, at least not during that time. And I found out she was an actress, and then we would help each other with auditions constantly. So I get another call from her saying that there was a second showcase, that same showcase, same event. She asked me if I was going to attend, and I wasn't. But I said, if you're going to attend, I'll be there. And so we connected a little bit more so then. And I remember she was having a hard time with her interviews for whatever reason, because she's an exceptional person who can articulate very well. And so after the fact, I bought her a drink. She said she left her wallet. I was like, yeah, okay, it's that LA stuff again, man. She said, but no, I'll return the favor. I'll take you out for coffee or something. So she was true to her word, and we started to connect, and we got to know each other, and we were friends for about 6 months. And then one day out of the blue, she asked me, do you just think I'm not attractive or something? And why have you never asked me out? And I said,
you're missing all the signals. I mean, she had her wallet. That was a line, man.
It was a line.
She didn't want to go hiking.
Yeah.
She didn't want to.
And the rest is history, pretty much.
The rest is history. We just got married last August, and
congratulations.
Awesome.
We've been together 5.5 years.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
That's great.
So, all right. So let's talk Winning Time, because me and Rob, we love the show. I mean, obviously, I'm a sports nut. There we go. There's Winning Time. I'm a sports nut. So there's that in itself, right? And so anytime I get to see like a behind the scenes, I love all that sports, all those sports, behind the scene movies, especially of old stuff, right? I don't need to see anything from today. I love watching all the old stuff. Like, I remember they had the Bronx is Burning about the Yankees in the 70s at one point. That was phenomenal. And this could have been a more perfect series for me. Well casted, well acted, well written. I know some people aren't happy with it. I know the logo, it wasn't happy with his portrayal in it. We all know who the logo is, right? Rob, do you know who the logo is?
Who's the logo?
Oh, it's Jerry.
Yes. The old coach. Yes.
And player. So there was, but it still made fun. And I'm blanking on the actor's name that played the role.
Jason Clarke.
Jason Clarke, yeah, phenomenal
Yeah.
actor. I loved him back when he did Brother. I don't know if you ever seen Brotherhood, where he played like a congressman in I think in Rhode Island. Fantastic show. So he's a big time, awesome actor. But let's talk Winning Time. How did that come about for you? Now you had basketball in your blood, right? Was that part of like did they reach out to you because they were looking for people that might have had basketball history, or did you hear about it and say, I got to audition for this because I would love to be part of it? How did Winning Time come into your life?
Well, funny enough, I got the audition back in June. Actually, I'm sorry, late May of 2021. And prior to that, I was talking to my wife. This was early May, and I said, what if I go back overseas? Because I had that itch that what if I go back overseas and I go play ball just one more season, just to try to end my career on my own terms? Because they had that basketball, the BAL is what they call it, the Basketball African League that they just started. J. Cole played in it, like a 7-week league overseas in Africa.
Okay.
And it's a league sponsored by the NBA. That's showcasing African players. Being from the Congo, I could have had an opportunity to get in there. She said yes. Well, a couple weeks later, I get an audition from my rep. One of my reps. You ever heard of Jim Jones? I said no, I never heard of him. He played on the the Lakers team with Magic Johnson back in the 1970s, late 1970s. And so I researched him. Come to find out, he was the second player overall to lead college basketball early after Spencer Haywood. Phenomenal career at Marquette, 20-10. Started off in the ABA and then eventually got to the NBA, Cleveland, and then eventually the Lakers. So I said this would be a great opportunity, man. And I kind of look like the guy.
Yeah.
I said, all right, we have at least a similar body style. And so they wanted me to wanted me to do the audition. I did the audition. And then how I found out was I do these things called writer's labs where someone will have a script and you get a group of people who are casted in it just to kind of read it out loud to see how the script sounds. So I'm in this writer's lab and my wife and I, we had the same rep at the time. She passes me this note. I look at the note and it says, you got the role. We had just started this writer's lab, so I still had another hour and a half or so.
That's mean.
Go through this thing. And I'm so ready to just shut this thing down, but I was one of the main characters.
Yeah.
And I had to endure another hour and a half because my rep was trying to get a hold of me, but my phone, I wasn't accessible because I was in this writer's lab, right? And I was so excited. So once I got off the writer's lab, it was surreal, man. We were so excited. And that was literally, so my birthday was June 7th. I found that out June 6th or so, somewhere around there.
Nice.
And then on June 14th, I'm on set.
Oh wow, that was a quick turnaround.
So what now at the audition, was it just reading lines or was there basketball involved in the audition?
There was basketball involved. So the scene was basketball oriented. It was actually on the basketball court.
Great. Okay.
And it was a scene with a couple players, myself, Kareem, and some other guys. But what was unique about that audition was it was a pretty cool audition. My wife said when I did it, you got the role. I'm like, oh, whatever. It would be cool because that's the mentality you got to have in the acting world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you'll get disappointed and you'll quit if you always keep, okay, did I get it? And then you don't hear anything and you get sad. When you do the auditions, you do it, and you got to move on with life.
You forget about it, and if they call 3 days or 3 months later, but put it out of your mind like it's not going to happen.
Yes, and so I did the audition. I quite frankly didn't think I did it or I got it, but she said, "No, you got this." But my wife was very pivotal too because she said, "Well, let's add a little something extra to it." So what we did was we did a split screen of Jim Jones and then myself, right? Showing, and what I did is I went and got a Lakers jersey with the number 9 on it, and I had the high socks and I did all that kind of stuff, right? And we also did a 20-second clip of me playing basketball like Jim Jones with his ball, his mechanics, and we added it to it with the late 1970s music. And put all that into the audition tape and sent it out, and they loved it.
How difficult was it to run in those short shorts that they used to wear in the NBA back in the 80s?
Oh my God. And I'm friends with the real Jim Jones, and we talk about it constantly. I said those are the worst basketball shorts to ever play in. Because one, they had to wear the tighty whities underneath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
of course.
they're constantly riding up, man.
Yeah,
And I'm just
boxers were
like,
bigger than the shorts themselves.
They were bigger than the
Right?
shorts.
Yeah,
Those were the
man.
worst shorts. Between the shorts and the shoes, horrible,
Oh,
horrible.
yeah, and I was actually going to ask that question. Have you met Jim Jonas at this point in life, and how did he feel about your portrayal of him?
So we started filming in June, and I reached out to him in August. My rep had encouraged me to reach out to him, and I finally reached out to him just on Instagram. His daughter, and she connected us, and he was excited, and because once again, not many people know about Jim Jones.
Well, and you said before he's someone that should be spoken about more because he has such an iconic role in the lore of the NBA, right? Skipping college. But I'll tell you what else too is, and I wouldn't say maybe for the Lakers. He put up really good numbers. He was on the Cavaliers before the Lakers throughout the 70s. He put up really good numbers. He kind of reminded me of one of those players that does a lot of those. He does a lot of the little things. Like he was almost like a Charles Oakley kind of a player, I think, right?
Exactly.
Double digit scoring, high rebounds. It seemed like he was one of those hustle first kind of players, which was perfect for that time frame. Nowadays you can't be one of those players because they get fouled, they get called for everything nowadays. But
they do.
But he had that lunch pail mentality back then in the 70s. So I feel like he doesn't get a lot of the credit he deserves to be as a player nowadays, and that's why I'm glad that he got to be shown in Winning Time.
Absolutely.
So he liked the portrayal.
Oh, he loved it. I mean, for him, it was a kind of resurgence of who he was, and so now he became more trending.
Yeah,
for people to kind of at least investigate on who he was.
I'm happy to hear that because I know we've with this show, and ironically totally different vibe, but the Pam and Tommy show, they were done the same way where it's not a biography. It's not necessarily taken directly from the players or in that case, the band and everybody involved for that show. So they don't always get to meet the real people because the real people don't always like it. So I'm actually very happy to hear that he was one of the guys, because I know Magic didn't like his portrayal, for example. I watched some of those interviews.
Jerry West didn't either.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sure.
So yes, so it is. So I'm actually very happy to hear that. That's so cool that you have a relationship with him now. That's special.
I'm one of the fortunate ones, and he's a color commentator for the Cleveland Cavaliers as we speak. So he's still very entrenched in the basketball world. So when I went to NBA All-Star weekend, which happened to be in Cleveland, man, he showed me the lay of the land, man. He took me around everywhere. That's cool. I got a chance to meet a lot of NBA greats. Was interviewed by the NBA Alumni Association, and I even got in their magazine. So it's
very cool.
That's great.
75, the 75th anniversary magazine with Michael Jordan on the cover. I'm in there with Jim Jones. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's awesome. We actually got we got this little thing right here. There you go. I'll tell you what, I love the scene where it's in, I think it was the final episode because I think it's that last game where Magic was gonna take over at center. And he's like, I got the tip. And you're like, what? And you give this look like, you kidding me, Rook? But again, it was a fantastic series, man. I thought everybody was really fantastic, as far as the acting in it, superb. If you take the cast, right, all the ball players in the show, who would win a one-on-one tournament? You put all you guys in a one-on-one tournament, who would win?
Me all day.
Were you the only real basketball player in the cast?
No, Solomon. He played at Cal Berkeley.
Okay.
So he can actually play it. He's a legit 6'11". I mean, one good thing I can say about everyone is, we had a professional trainer that also trained NBA guys that helped all the players get up to speed. So even some of the guys who couldn't play or had never had any experience, they were able to get up to speed enough to make it look proficient.
Yes,
so,
and it did. It really did. I don't think anybody looked like there was a misstep or they didn't know what they were doing. It must have been edited well as well, but it was done very good.
Yeah, I would say very seamless.
It was a lot of hard work. I mean, because it wasn't just the acting piece. I mean, constant
Yeah.
training basketball wise, and guys some of the guys never been athletes in their lives, were put through the rigorous training regimens that NBA guys went through, and you saw their bodies transform because everyone had to look who they were playing, had to look the part.
Yeah.
So like attributed to my hats off to Quincy Isaiah, who plays Magic, Delonte D'Souza, who plays Michael Cooper. All those guys, they worked real hard to make sure the skill set was there to deliver. And and everyone else. Sean Patrick Small plays Larry Bird.
Yeah, he was good in that too. I thought Wood Harris played Spencer Haywood. I thought that was one of the most intriguing roles because for anyone who doesn't know Spencer Haywood, he was the first to bypass college, I believe. Right? We said that earlier.
He was,
but he had such a torment, like with the drugs and everything else. You look back and it's like you always say like that wasted talent. And you're like, what he could have been if he didn't let those demons really get to him. And it was actually, I thought it was the saddest part of the show is seeing like he was sitting in the I don't want to give much away, but there's a part where but if we know the history, we know that's a part where he's like, he's kicked off the team at one point and just seeing him in the bathtub, just like listening to the game. And it's just like, you couldn't have felt worse for somebody. I just felt because he knew it was all self-inflicted.
Yes,
but it was a hard battle, and I thought he played that role really well because that was tough. That had to be a tough role because it was so there was so much to it. So he's also just a great actor as well.
Oh man, he's one of my best friends, and he was like big brother on set. Man, he helped me. He gave me a lot of gems, so to speak, in that world because he's been in the HBO game.
Oh yeah, Avon Barksdale, right? I mean, The Wire.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than The Wire, man. Yeah, The Wire was one of my faves. So what this is, I know it's based on the book. Is there ever going to get a chance to? Well, actually, before I even get that, did you ever read the book? Did you get a chance to read it?
I read tidbits of it. I didn't want the book. The reason why I didn't read the whole thing, if I'm gonna be honest, is because I didn't want to. I wanted to bring my own creativity to it, versus emulating. We knew the history, but I wanted to bring in my own body of work with instead of emulating.
Like it's a fresh story, pretty much.
Yes, while still being in the character and having his essence.
So, and now, is there a future for this ever like outside the book, or is it going to be pretty much go as far as the book takes us? So I know we got season 2.
Yeah.
Like, what do we have an outline for the future of the show? Because I can't get enough of it. And again, but obviously because it's based on reality, I know there's going to come a point where they can't, they're not going to go all the way up to the Kobe years. I get that. So, is there going to come a point where it's only going to finish out what the book is, or is there a chance it could get extended past that?
Well, as of right now, they're taking it one step at a time. In an ideal world, they want to take it as far as they can. I'm good friends with the author of the book, Jeff Pearlman.
Oh,
and,
cool.
He's a great friend. And, we're all hoping that it gets extended as far as it can. As of right now, we're greenlit for season 2. And we're going to just continue from there. And to my knowledge, it's all about just the likability of it.
Yeah, of course.
The more fanfare, the more it's going to continue.
Yeah. We know.
Now, do we have
an ideal world? We want to push it as far out as it can be possibly pushed.
Yeah, I get that. Now, do we think we're going to get season 2 by next summer?
That's the hope. Cool. We do start filming in the fall, so there's so many moving parts.
Yep.
Be it the network, be it production. So you never know we still have to film it, and we don't know. We have a time frame for that, but once again, that could be extended. So all those moving pieces will determine but it will be next year for sure. I can say that.
Cool.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be even better than season 1. It's going to be an extension of season 1. And we just want people to enjoy the journey because ultimately it's a love letter to all these characters that we're playing.
Yes.
Jerry West, Magic, it's unfortunate that some of those guys they may not see it that way. We hope that they change their mind in the future. But these are some real things. Yeah, it's made for TV as far as dramatization is concerned, but a lot of these things are real. And
Yeah.
you got to show in anything to appreciate someone and where they are now. You kind of got to see what traumas that they went through and experienced prior to where they are now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You know,
Yeah.
because everyone has that
Yeah.
in life. We all go from one place to the next place.
Well, and
It's a
again,
journey.
let's talk about that with you on this show. That's what I love. That's why we started at the beginning, because like you said, you would have kept playing basketball. Unfortunately, something happened, and then look at all the different things you were able to transform. What some other people would have given up at a couple of these points, and it's inspiring, and it's special, and exactly like you said, you don't get to choose all your directions. You're gonna go from one place to another, and to do it with the right attitude and keep moving forward. That's what life's all about.
It is. And, I'm a big believer that you can always reinvent yourself if you choose to. You're going to go through the disappointments. You're going to go through sometimes depression. Those are just real things that people go through. I mean, look at the Jerry West character. He went through all that stuff to kind of figure himself out after the game of basketball.
Yeah.
We know what Jerry West ended up being.
Yeah.
The logo. So, I mean,
the logo, one of the greatest GMs to really in NBA history. I feel like he redeems himself throughout that season, throughout the series, though. I feel like he starts off so rough, but by the end of the series, I think you got that he was so rough in the beginning because he just he loved the game of basketball. He loved the Lakers. And I think you could understand him. And as the season went on, I thought you could understand where he was coming from a little bit better once you get to the end. I don't really think it was. Again, in the first few episodes, I think a lot of people looked at it like, "Wow, that was Jerry West." But then I think by the end, you get to understand where that fire came from, and I think you can appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like any of us, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying, and you go through the issues and emotions behind. You go through the breakdowns. I was like that too when I stopped playing basketball because I got hurt. And what do I do now?
Yeah,
I went through all those series of emotions, and it was hard.
Yeah, no, I get that. On set, working with the John C. Reillys of the world, I mean, I can only imagine working with someone like that. It's got to be just a barrel of laughs off camera. Is he like one of these guys that's just always on? Because that's how I picture him. Like him and like Will Ferrell. Like I feel like the two of those guys, they're never off, right? I feel like they're always just wonky and wacky. Was he like that on set? Was he like the comic relief off camera on set?
Sometimes he was, sometimes he wasn't. It just depends on the situation and depend on the scene. As actors, we try to respect each other's time in between takes because I know, like for me, I like to be locked in with my character pretty much the entire day, especially if I have a large work day as far as dialogue is concerned. So, you try to read the room. But, when he had a lighter day and we were around him, he was a very cool guy to be around. Learned a lot from him. But definitely a very funny guy.
That's
but this was a great role for him because he really embodied it.
Yeah.
You had those moments in between takes where you saw him locked in, and those are moments where you look at him like, okay, let me not bother him right now. But then you have other moments where we'll talk and we laugh and joke, and we all became a family, which was a great.
That's awesome.
Was a great dynamic. I mean, all of them. Sally Field. I mean, Mike.
Yeah,
Epps.
what a gent. Like just that's
Mike Epps too. I forget he's in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got Spencer Garrett who plays Chick Hearn. We've become great friends. He went to Duke, so we have that whole Duke Carolina rivalry dynamic.
Yeah.
Friendship.
And even Adrian Brody playing Pat Riley.
Man.
I'm still not over the day he left the Knicks to go to the Heat. Still not over it. He won a championship everywhere else. He could have won for my Knicks.
Man.
So now I gotta blame Adrian Brody too. Association.
And Adrian, he embodied that role.
He's a phenomenal actor too.
Yeah,
such a good cast with this. But it's thing, and I don't think he gets enough credit is John C. Reilly for being a serious actor. He's done a lot of serious roles. I think people always forget because his most notable ones are ones that he's usually done with like Will Ferrell. Step Brothers and Talladega Nights. But he's actually played serious characters. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for that stuff.
I think the people that know him though know now. Like he can get into a really dramatized role or a musical role. Like he's done some really cool stuff.
I still remember him as Gus Sinski for the Detroit Tigers in that baseball movie. So as the catcher. So we do have a game we play called Lightning Lane. And it's where we're going to ask you a bunch of questions back and forth, 10 questions, but easy stuff. First thing that comes to your mind. All right?
Okay.
Patty Puddle's quick on the trigger with that. I was still talking, Patty.
It's hey, leave Patty alone. He's doing a good job.
I don't know. We'll see.
Let's lightning lane it.
Lightning lane. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
I think I know the answer to this one, but favorite basketball player, active or retired?
Michael Jordan, of course.
I knew it. Man.
Last song you listened to?
Last song. It's a reggae song. It's called "Nothing No Goso" by Notch.
Okay, all right.
I don't know that song. I gotta look it up. What's it? Say it one more time.
Cool. Nothing No Goso. Nuttin. Go Go and then so.
What does that mean?
It's by Notch. I have no idea.
Notch.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, man. All right.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Anywhere in the world. Spain.
Nice.
Any part of Spain? In the south of Spain?
Madrid.
All right.
Cool. Who's your favorite band, musician, anything like that?
Favorite band, musician, Outkast.
Outkast.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Take acting and basketball out of the equation. What would you do for a career if you weren't either one of those?
A lawyer.
All right.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
What's your favorite food in general?
Gluten-free pastas.
Okay. All right.
I was expecting something. Come on, you have
This is why we asked.
parents from the Congo. I thought you were going to give me some crazy thing that I need to go out and try.
See, Gene, this is why he has. This is why. It's why he has the body he has, and you have the body you have. It's right there. There it is.
He was saying before, when he was saying making 1,000 makes, I'm thinking I just could go for 1,000 cakes. So, all right. What is one interest or hobby that people would be surprised to know that you have?
One interest or hobby. I love graphic design.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
That's
Very
cool.
nice. What is something on your bucket list?
To be in a movie with Denzel, of course.
Of course.
He would be. That would be an awesome
right.
experience for me.
Favorite late night snack?
Peanut butter and jelly.
Nice.
Gluten-free bread, of course.
Gluten-free bread. Now, I'll take all the gluten. Like everyone that says no gluten, give me the gluten. I'll take the gluten. So
I love gluten. I can't for health reasons.
Yeah,
I get it.
It'd be a problem for me.
That's just we all got to do what we got to do. That's what's your favorite movie? If it's on TV, the one you leave on a little longer. That
favorite movies. He got game with Spike Lee. And
yeah. I love the part where he punches the guy in the throat when he was like, "What did you say?" Boom, and he hits him right in the throat. That's a great movie.
Can I add one more just because I'm curious? Because I'm sure you have one. What's your favorite basketball movie? If you were going to pick just one basketball movie.
Basketball movie. Well, it's more of a documentary. It's Hoop Dreams.
Hoop Dreams.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Very good. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever see Rebound? Earl the Goat Manigault?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
an
that
HBO
was another
movie
one.
with
I remember that.
was it Don Cheadle? I think it was Don Cheadle.
Don
He
Cheadle.
played Earl the Goat. That was a great
Yeah.
movie too, and that's another biopic.
Cool, man.
Fantastic. Blue Chips too. Another one with.
Chips was good too with Shaq and Penny.
Shaq. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some good ones, man. There's some good ones. What about Hoosiers? The ultimate classic, right?
Oh man,
Hoosiers?
that's classic, man. You can't beat that.
Yeah. All right. So, best advice you ever received, and who gave it to you?
Best advice I've ever received. My mother. Work hard and everything will take care of itself.
And you do that,
Yes.
right? Wow, you're the epitome of that advice. That's awesome.
Yes. You're proof positive that actually works.
Well done,
and
Mom.
you've been able to pivot when you've needed to pivot, right?
Thank you.
On the court and off, I'm sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. Literally, right?
So
Right.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, real quick, tell us about some of the stuff you got coming up. I know you got a film coming out with your wife, and a couple other things. Let's talk about that. I believe we have the cover for that right here. The Umbro. Tell us about the Umbro.
So it's a very interesting. It's like a horror thriller. So my wife, without giving the storyline too much, my wife has a conversation with her father. We for years thought her father was going schizophrenic, and so right before he passed, he shared some information with her that he saw. It was almost like a shadow, and the shadow was like the source of anything bad in the world, from catastrophes to wars to people being killed, right? And he experienced everything firsthand because the shadow knew that he could see him, and the shadow could see that, and vice versa, right? But no one believed him. So he went through all of this on his own. And so she inherited now this knowledge and information and the actual physical sight of seeing what the shadow was capable of doing, which drove her crazy. And no one, and so I'm being trying to be a loving husband, because I played my wife's husband in the actual film. Tried to just figure out what's happening with her, trying to be supportive, but not understanding what's going on. And she's seeing all these horrific things. She's seeing the shadow kill people. She's seeing all these different things that's happening, and I don't see it. No one else does. So it's such an interesting story. We got a chance to do that. My wife, I executive produced it. She produced it, and we both starred in it. And that's an exciting film that we're excited to, because we just started our own production company called Full Circle Creative Studio. So that versus amongst other projects we're going to be doing together. So we have. Okay.
No, I was saying, you also have the agency, right?
The agency that will be back probably 2024. Okay. And what that is, that was actually written by my wife. So the character where I play is Jordan Jones, and he's like a 007 type character.
Cool.
So his father was a secret agent who just mysteriously just vanished, right? So the agency who his father worked for recruited me when I was of age, and we would go from different country, taking down all the bad guys, so to speak, right? And cool. My goal was to eventually come across my father at some point and find him. So I started. The premise, though, later on, and without giving away too much, is my father didn't disappear. He chose to, because he was the ringleader of all these different bad circumstances that happened.
Very cool.
So without giving away any more else.
Yeah. All right. I like it. You're gonna say that's in 24. We'll see that.
Yeah. 24.
All right. So anything? What else you got coming up? Anything else?
I've got a Christmas movie that I'll be filming tentatively. That'll be coming out in December. I start filming that right before wedding time. And
awesome.
Other than that, that's about it. That'll be on TV1.
Very cool.
And,
that's about it. It sounds like you're pretty busy.
I know.
Not too much. Just
other than
I
that,
got some other things that I can't
right?
talk about, but because they're not solidified yet. But
no, understood. Thank you so much, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you guys for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for joining us, man. We really, really, really appreciate it. Guys, if you haven't seen Winning Time yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's a fantastic show. Please go check it out. Give them if only one reason. Why do they need to see Winning Time?
You need to see Winning Time because Bunny is your man. I play Jim Bunny Jones, so you got to check me out and my amazing castmates. And it's fun. It's a history lesson on the Lakers, the Showtime era, and how it started. And I think it's a great experience. So please check it out. HBO Max.
If you're a basketball fan, shame on you if you haven't seen it. And even if you're not a basketball fan, there's enough going on that you can still enjoy this. You don't need to be a basketball fan to watch this.
Yes.
And real quick sidebar, I have talking about basketball movies. Have you guys seen Hustle yet?
Oh, I have not yet. A good friend of
Go
mine,
see
Bone
it.
Collector's in it. I haven't seen it yet. And
Kenny so good. Kenny Smith is in it. Obviously Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah. I mean, a ton of basketball players. Go see it. It is fantastic. But see Winning Time first, right, Newton?
Yeah, you got to see Winning Time first.
Winning Time first.
That's the precedence for everything else. Right?
Yeah, it's the 80s, right? We're here now in basketball because of the 80s. Go see Winning Time. Newton, thank you so much for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. Mods are going to drop the links. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, me and Piano Rob will wrap up. Thanks again, Newton.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Cute. Well, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy, Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs. Ears for spooky stuff. You name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
Guys, we want to thank Newton Mayenge for stopping by today. We want to thank producer Patty Puddles. We want to thank the chat. We want to thank all our subscribers. Thank you for taking this journey with us. Let's thank the mods for keeping the chat friendly and safe. How you feel, my man?
Dude, I just feel blessed. All the people we keep getting to talk to. What another just amazing person. Great
Fantastic.
message. A lot to learn from. Love it.
And also, true life lesson on if you have a setback, just know that one door closes, another one may open. Stay positive, work hard, and things should work out in the end. Yeah, man. I can't wait for season 2, man. I love the original season. I wish it was longer. I get it. It's based on factual history, so it's hard to really. But it's a tremendous show. The acting is tremendous in it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I can't wait for next week. What do you got? I guess these are pre-recorded now, so it's hard to say what you got coming up this week. But
check my schedule or DM me, and you'll find it.
Go to the Facebook group, and you'll find out where you're at this week, right?
Exactly, man.
There you go. All right, I guess let's play this out a little bit, and you know what? I guess that's gonna do it this week, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week, or we'll see you next week. There we go, guys. Have a great today, a better tomorrow, and we will see you next time.
Late Night Magic.